All right, reading today. I need reading notebooks out. And you want your iPad, and you're going to go to the reading textbook link here on Schoology. Give you a second to get that situated. Reading textbook and your iPads. They're all getting ready. Don't forget your November/December book report. So there isn't going to be a new book report. That's due December 16th, which is next Wednesday, a week from today. You had to have 3 books, certain types, and 3 different activities posted for those. If you watched a video, I think last week, I talked about kind of what I was looking for. I've been grading them as you turn them in to kind of give you some feedback and what you need to correct while you still have time to get those done. Okay? Reading extra credit. That looks like it's due Friday, so if you haven't done that, got a little time to get that one done still. I think I only have 6 turned in, so reading extra credit. Yep, that's the one where you're going to read a book to somebody and then kind of write a review. You make some questions. Okay, so you have time to get that one done yet. Today, though, we're looking at this reading textbook link. I'm going to click on that. And we go to table of contents, these little lines here. So we can quickly get to our lesson 17 story. We're going to click on the dig deeper. So down here it says dig deeper. I want to click on that. And this is our first page. This is what we worked on yesterday. So you were rereading the story. Some of us read it together. Some of you might have read it on your own. And then we filled this chart in. So let's quickly review this chart. What did we write down for setting? Sean?
Peter's garage.
Right, we said Peter's garage. You might have mentioned Angela's home because at one point she was in there. We didn't really add that. Okay, school might have been one. Okay, Peter's garage was probably the main spot, right? That's where that time machine was located, and that's where they were going into the future and then coming back to. So setting. Characters? Who are the characters? Kenny?
Angela, Peter, and Dr. Lu Manchu.
Right, so Angela and Peter, and then Dr. Lu Manchu is Peter. So that's the same person. So Angela and Peter are our main characters because Dr. Lu Manchu is a fictional person, right? Okay, he was somebody that Peter had made up. So Angela and Peter are our main characters. Plot. What is the problem? What's the conflict? Nick?
What's it called? For who?
What was the problem? For Angela. Remember, she was our narrator.
She wanted to get the, what's it called, good grade on her writing.
Right, she wanted to be the winning, or have the winning writing, so that would be published in the magazine. That was the conflict, that was her problem, her struggle. What were some events that led to this resolution? What happened in that story? Should have written them down, we should be looking. We should have all hands up. Sean?
She discovers Peter's time machine.
Yep, she discovers the time machine in Peter's garage. What else?
The machine always sends you to the future.
Right. So the machine works and it sends you to the future. It'll fast forward you into the future. And?
You can't stay in the future for very long.
Yeah, you can't stay there for very long. He eventually gets it to 7 minutes. What else happens? What does she decide to do, Adam? Mm-hmm. Right. Right, so she decides to fast forward into time and take that reading article, right, or look in the magazine and see the winning story so she can write the winning story. Okay, that's what she does to solve her problem. So the resolution was, right, to get the winning story by using that time machine.
But then.
Okay. Does it work?
Yeah.
It does work. She feels guilty though. Why? Nick?
Because, well, first it was her. The story was actually hers, but if it wasn't hers, she would have basically been taking someone else's credit,
Right.
and she might have gotten in trouble for that.
Right. So she kind of felt guilty there for a short period of time in our story, where she's kind of waiting to see who wins, right? Or even after she wins, that she might have taken somebody else's story and took credit for it. But when they announce her name, what happens? What do they realize? Maya? Right, that she probably had to write it. What evidence do we have that supports that conclusion? John? Right, nobody was claiming she stole it from them, so they realized she probably had to write it. What else, Sean?
She was the only one that knew about the time machine.
Right, it was a story about Peter's time machine. She was the only one that really knew about that time machine. We talked a little bit about a lesson that Angela might have learned. What do you think she might have learned from this story? Let's see if we can come up with a theme. Riker?
Maybe to not use time machine to her advantage.
Okay. Not take advantage of things, because she did take advantage of something, right? And she felt guilty about it.
Technically, it's Peter's fault.
Right. That's not Peter's fault, right? I mean, Peter helped her do all of this, but she did feel guilty, right? And she would have felt terrible if it was somebody else's story, and here she got credit for it. All right, so hopefully she kind of thinks twice before doing something a little crazy like this. So we did that yesterday, so we're not going to read this. We talked about that. Sure. Question?
So you know how she said she looked at the story and just rewrote the whole story
Mm-hmm.
of the thing? Because if the story disappears in a certain amount of time, how would she have enough time to rewrite it?
Well, I don't think she rewrote the whole thing.
Did she just take a picture of it on her?
She took some of it. Remember, she read some of it, was able to write some of it, and then had to kind of finish the ending, right? And she also didn't get a chance to look at the name, the person who wrote it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was why she was worried she stole somebody else's writing. And here in the end, it was hers to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay, John?
Couldn't she go back in time and go see who it is again?
Technically,
She would have to prior to knowing she won, right? Like, I guess she could after she wrote it and submitted it, and then go back and, like, sooner than
But then
when they announce the winner. Because once they announce the winner, then it's done, right?
But then, if she went fast forward and she wasn't the winner, would she just like take her story out of it? And
That's a good question. That could be a way you could rewrite the ending, right? You could change the ending where it ended up being somebody else's story, right? So that would be a good new ending. Something to think about. What you think would happen. Okay? Good questions. Any other questions? Show of hands. Who likes this story? We've never done this story. I've never read this story in the book. Okay. Good. And you don't have to. It's okay not to. I've got quite a few here that do. So I'll be curious if some of you watching this video enjoyed the story or not. Give us a little shout out there on the updates that you liked it or you didn't like it. Either way. That lets me know if I should use the story again next year, if I should think of something else. We're going to do some more reviewing. We've talked about literary devices. I mentioned this word, I think, yesterday. What is a literary device? Who remembers? Jackson? Yeah, this is just fancy words for figurative language, or different words for figurative language. So in the story, we have some onomatopoeia, right? What is that? You probably can't see it in my video, but what is that, Maya? Yeah, so crack, we have the crack, boom. I think we had some gurgle, some chirp, right? Okay, we had some different sound words in our story that we looked at, or that we read yesterday. Okay, so we also found something else in the story as we read. Who remembers what else we found in there? Not just onomatopoeias. What else? Riker? We talked about vocab words, but that's not figurative language. It was another figurative language. Juliana?
Simile.
Yeah, there was a simile towards the beginning describing Peter's hair, right? Talked about it being black as licorice. We said that meant it was very dark in color. Okay? Point of view. We also talked about that a little bit yesterday. Point of view is who's telling the story, right? The perspective from which a story is written. And we definitely said it was first person. This is kind of confirming our thoughts, right? And Angela is telling us the story. How do we know it's first person? clues. Claire?
Because it says
Right, those pronouns. I, me, my, we, right? We don't get her name until Peter finally says it, right? That first page or so, I think we don't even know her name until later in the story when Peter tells us, right, in the dialogue. Okay? So here it says she's not able to see how events will turn out before they actually happen. This creates suspense in the story. For example, Angela doesn't know if Peter's time machine really works. Neither do readers. They must keep reading to find out. So just being from her point of view, we don't know some of the things Peter already knows, right, and is thinking about. So think about how the story would change if it was from Peter's point of view. What might be different? John?
it will like tell the backstory about how Peter made the machine.
Okay, we might get more information about how he made it, how he started to test it. Good. Sean?
Instead of he would mention Angela's name more because
Okay, we would probably have her name more often, and we may not know his name, right? All right, good. So the names would change. Okay, some of the pronouns might be a little different. What about that time when, because we get information from Angela about Peter, how he's kind of a nerd, right? He doesn't really fit in. He doesn't help out or join other groups. Would we know that about Peter?
Huh? No.
Probably not right away, right? We might learn that over the course of time and what he does in his actions. Okay, but we wouldn't know it right off the bat. What else, Kenny?
Also, we would know like more about his time machine and
For sure. We would,
what was made.
yeah, we'd definitely know more about the time machine. So how about that time where he allows Angela to use the time machine? Would we know what happens to her?
No.
No, we wouldn't know what happens to her, but we would know what? What would we know more about? Nick?
Like when she went in there.
Maybe when she went in there. What
Like-
else? Adam?
He went got the flower.
Right, we would know his experience going into time or going forward into time to get that flower. Okay, we wouldn't get as much from Angela. So would it be maybe as suspenseful?
What do you mean?
Would our problem be the same?
No.
Probably not. How do you think the problem would change? What would be the problem, Maya?
Would probably be like him trying to raise how say that.
Yeah, he might be trying to better that machine, trying to figure out how to make the time you're in the future longer, right? Trying to make things stay with you longer, so the problem or the conflict would probably also be different. Okay? All right, good. Let me go to our next page here. This is what we're going to look at. Write about reading. I'm going to talk a little bit about this because this is going to be your assignment. I have on Schoology, it's posted. Okay, you can type it and submit it, or you can write it on paper and take a picture and submit it. But first, I want to talk about it because there's a lot here. All right? So it says, think about the conflict or problem, which was Angela wanted to impress her parents, right? She wanted to win that writing contest. That Angela struggles throughout Laugh. It is resolved after Angela wins first place in the writing contest, right? So she does win. Her parents are proud. Her name's in the magazine. Everything works out. But is the solution to her problem logical and believable? So we know what believable is, right? What about logical? What does that mean, Kenny?
Would it like fit? Like, would it make sense in real life, and would it fit,
Yeah.
would it make sense with the laws of physics?
Exactly. Does it make sense? Could it really happen?
Well, it's possible.
Oh,
like,
keep them in there. Okay. So, is it logical and believable? Write a paragraph. So a paragraph, I believe on Schoology, I said was at least 7 sentences. Okay, because you're going to do a lot of supporting, in which you discuss whether you are satisfied with the resolution of the story. Are you satisfied with how it finished? So you had mentioned, Nick, something else might have happened, right? So something to think about. So are you satisfied with it? And be sure to support your opinion. That's why I made it 7 sentences, because it's your opinion and you need to support it. Okay, you're not just answering a question and giving me a little bit of evidence, which is 3 to 5 sentences. Okay, so be sure to support your opinion with evidence from the text. So a little longer answer than we would normally see because it's your opinion and you're supporting that. So
So
you have to make a decision, okay? Is there necessarily a right or wrong answer?
No.
No. But I will be seeing if you can support it, right? And if it makes sense with your evidence. So think about what it is you believe about this solution, okay? How it might be different or how it could have been different today or maybe in the future. A lot of things to think about. Nick?
So the question is basically if it's logical or not.
Right, so this is your question. If you think it's logical or believable, and it's your thinking, right? It's your opinion. Okay, and then you're gonna support it. Do you think it is logical and believable? And you can go lots of different ways with this. Okay? So I'm looking for creativity. I'm not looking for, no, it's not believable and logical because it's a fast forward time machine, so it can't happen. Okay, that is not an acceptable answer. I want more. If you say no, it's not, that's fine, but I want you to look beyond just the fact that it's a fast forwarding time machine. Okay? Make sense? I'm gonna make sure we're good. Riker?
That time machine could do so much in real life.
It
Because
could.
technically, if it was a test, and then if I get stuff wrong, I can just fast forward in time, look at the answers, go back, and then do them.
But you'd have to do that before you take the test.
Yeah, exactly. Cause you tell us no, but you tell us
Or
before
if you
we
could
take
go
the
back
test
in
that we're
time-
having a test.
if you could go
so
back
we
in
fast
time,
forward, and then when we come back that day, we write the answer.
There you go.
If you could go back, you would just go back in time and redo it however many times you
But
want.
it doesn't go back, it only goes forward.
Yeah, but if it could.
But it doesn't.
No, take
In
a
this
picture.
story.
Take a picture of it.
Oh, so think about that kind of technology we have today, right? And consider when this story might have been written.
But what
All
would it
right,
say?
all right,
would that
raise
make
your
sense?
hands. Questions, Sean.
I have one thought and then one,
Well, give me your questions. I'm only doing questions now.
what if our answer is good now, but 100 years from now we might be able
Well, I'm not worried about 100 years from now because I won't be here.
Are you sure
John,
about that?
questions only.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it like logical or believable about like the time machine? Or how
It's about her resolution, about how she solved her problem. Is the way she solved the problem logical and believable? Okay, and that's why I said you could easily say no because it was a fast forward time machine. We don't have those today. But I want to see beyond that, okay? Beyond creative thinking as to why it isn't logical and believable. Or creative thinking as to why it is. Okay? Questions only.
Are you gonna leave it up? So that
No, it's on, this is on your iPad, right?
I was just gonna say.
Okay.
start to forget
Wait,
So
questions.
that's on your iPad, and then it's, more information is posted on Schoology where you submit it. Not much more, but a little bit. Nick?
Alright, one more question. Do we write it on paper and then like take a picture of it? And
That's fine. You can do it that way, or you can type it. You can go into Notability and type. So you could do it that way, Kenny, where you pull this up on your iPad so you can see it and then type, kind of split screen, okay? All right, that's your only assignment for reading today is to complete this Write About Reading, submit that to Schoology.